and welcome to a very special edition of the IBD Roundtable. I am your host, Sarah Ringer, and tonight we flipped the table. That means that I am on this end hosting, and Frank is on the other end being interviewed. So I am here with Frank Garufi Jr., and I just want to say before we get started that it is such an honor to be the person sitting here interviewing him. He is an amazing advocate, as we all know, but as I have gotten to know him as a person and now a friend and somebody that I call a family member, it is a huge honor, and I look at this as a great responsibility to host his roundtable, his baby. I am in charge, which is quite amazing. So thank you, Frank. And with that said, I'm going to have Frank introduce himself and tell all of you guys where you can find him on the internet.
This is very strange for me tonight, being on this side of the table, but I can't think of a better person to take over the hosting duties than you, Sarah. Thank you for doing this. As Sarah said, I'm Frank Garufi Jr. of the Crohn's Colitis Effect. You can find me at right down here at cceffect.org. You can also find me on Facebook at the Crohn's Colitis Effect, which I hope that you will go and like the page. You can also find me on YouTube and on Pinterest and on Twitter. You can get all the links for everything right there on cceffect.org.
Awesome. So I just wanted to start out by reminding everybody who's watching tonight that we are taking your questions as the show goes on, and most likely we'll get to a lot of them at the end of the show, so keep them coming. We love when you guys interact with us. And I have a lot of surprises in store for Frank tonight, along with my interview questions, so he's being a really good sport. I gave him one hint about tonight, and that was he needed to have a blindfold ready. So it's going to be an interesting show.
It definitely should be noted that I specifically, Sarah and I talked earlier today and yesterday, and I specifically told her that I didn't want to know anything about the show ahead of time, that everything was fair game for the most part, and that I would be a complete open book, but that I wanted this to be extremely natural and very you know, honest and forthright. And I think the only way that you can do that is by you know, just not knowing things ahead of time, not having things pre-made up. So.
Well, you have no idea what's in store for you.
I really don't. It is going to be great.
It's going to be good. All right, so let's get silly.
Okay.
No, we're going to get serious here for a second. And just like you did when you interviewed me, we're going to start out with the Frank before he was an IBD advocate, the Frank before he was even an adult. We are going to go back to your childhood and get to know kind of who you are, where you come from, all that good stuff. So my first question for you tonight is, we want to know a little bit about your family. I hear that you are Italian. Do you have a big family? What was it like growing up? Give us the details.
So I'm technically half Italian, half Irish. But if you can find any of the Irish side in me, then I will be glad to admit to it. But there's very little Irish that you will find in me, from my body type to my thoughts to my choice of foods. Pretty much everything lands on the Italian side. My dad's side is Italian. My mom's side was Irish, or is Irish, should I say. But it's funny because a lot of the traditions and a lot of the things that I grew up on were a lot of the old school Sicilian traditions, and I'm thankful for that. I really love the Italian traditions and the things that I was brought up on. My family's a decent size. I wouldn't say that we were humongous, but you know, we've got a pretty decent sized family.
Awesome. And we want to know now, what would you say your favorite Italian food would be?
It depends on who's cooking it. If it's my dad, and my dad is a world-class cook too. But if it's my dad, it's his lasagna. There is just something awesome about his lasagna. If it is my mom, she makes this baked cavatelli that is unlike anything I've ever tasted before. And it's funny, she knows that is my dish of choice from her. And when she makes it, she always calls me up and tells me I can, come over and have some, and I run to it. It's just absolutely awesome. If I'm out at a restaurant, anything that really looks good on the menu, man. Obviously, you can tell from my build that there is very little that I don't like when it comes to food. So, I love food.
Me too. Who doesn't? So back when you were a kid, what did you do? What was your favorite activities? What was the little Frank like?
It's funny because as far back as I can remember, I've always been a geek. I've been the biggest geek that you could probably imagine. Just to give you for an example, my father started me off when I was 6 years old as a computer programmer. He started teaching me how to program at 6, and I did that all the way up until I was 16 years old.
Wow.
I played organized sports like baseball and stuff like that, but my real love and my real passion had always been doing something on a computer. I mean, it was like it was baked into my DNA. And I would spend, like, when I was young, when I was about 10, my grandfather would take me out every Saturday morning to go flying model airplanes. And it's one of the things from my childhood that I will always take with me as far as I go. My grandfather taking me out on Saturday mornings to go flying model airplanes. But if I wasn't model airplanes with him, or if I wasn't running around with some of my friends, if I was home, I was doing something on a computer. And I just have always been that way. When I was a teenager, I would shy away from being a geek. I thought it was like the worst thing in the world, and I wouldn't want to even tell anybody that I knew how to do something on a computer because of all the stereotypes, and you got labeled as a geek and you were an outcast and nobody wanted to hang with you and stuff like that. But it was when I got into my my late teens, early 20s, that I embraced my geekiness, and I absolutely love it. I just think being the geek that I am is the greatest thing in this world.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like you. Frank is amazing with technology. He knows that I am the exact opposite of that. In fact, funny story, when I first met Frank, the very first time I met him, we had not met in person. We knew each other online, and this was only a year ago, but it feels like we've known each other for a really long time because I just love you so much. But
yeah,
we met at the rock climb event through the Intense Intestines Foundation, and I was in charge of doing video. And of course, I'm so bad with technology that I look over at Frank, who I didn't know, and I was like, "Frank, come here, can you help me?" And my question was, "How do I turn on the camera?"
The best part about that is I think my first response to you was not, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." I'm like, how is the queen of IBD videos, the woman who's got like the greatest IBD video channel on YouTube, not know how to turn this thing on?
I'm really bad with technology. So I am glad to have you as a friend, not only for technology, but just because you're a great person. But totally sounds like something that you would be into growing up, and
yeah.
Shocking that they had computers back then.
I know, as old as I am.
Just kidding. And one last question about growing up in your family. I want to know, I guess maybe this might have been it with the airplanes, but what is your favorite family tradition, if you have one, or do you guys have traditions?
Oh yeah, we have a lot of traditions. The few things that I could probably talk about a bunch of them, but I think the few things that really stand out the most are flying model airplanes with my grandfather. I would wake up Saturday mornings and just could not wait for him to come get me and to take me out. There was a field that was roughly about 45 minutes away from my parents' house at the time that he would take me to. And just from the moment we got in the car to going there, and we would spend a good 4 or 5 hours flying the planes in the morning, and then he would bring me back to my grandmother's house. And when we would pull in the driveway, you could smell the food already being cooked. And like, she knew we were coming in at that time. And you just, even walking up the back steps of their house to go inside, and just, it would just hit you like a brick wall, and you would start salivating right away, because my grandmother was just a cook beyond cook. And I just loved going back there and eating lunch with them, and then going home later in the afternoon. But I think the other thing that the tradition that I just absolutely, it just brings me the most joy and happiness when I think back on it, was when my grandmother was still alive and we had Christmas every Christmas Eve at her house. She would decorate the house like crazy. It would just radiate Christmas inside that home. And she would spend the entire day. The tradition that we had was we had sausages and peppers in Italian white rolls that we had on Christmas Eve, along with a whole bunch of other things. But it was just these sausages and peppers that she would spend all day sauteing and just making them perfect. And then we'd all, like, the entire family was there, and after dinner we'd all go, and everybody had their special spot in the living room, and we'd all just start opening up gifts. And the Christmas time was just something that I always loved, and it wasn't so much because Santa Claus was coming, it was because we were going to Nana's house on Christmas Eve. And that's just, I just miss those times.
Oh, that's really cool. I want to come join your family.
Yeah.
For the food, really. Do you know what that means? Do you guys hear that? That is the sound of fun. It is our first challenge. Frank, are you up for a challenge?
I'm always up for a challenge.
We're starting easy here. We are going to play 5 in under 5. That means I am going to ask you 5 questions, and you have to answer each question in under 5 seconds. Do you think that you can handle this?
I'll try. I'll do my best.
It's very easy. We're starting off easy.
Okay.
All right. Question number 1. What is your dream job?
I'm doing it, being a network engineer.
Awesome. Question number 2. What is your favorite non-Italian food?
Oh,
time's running out.
Is there such thing as food that's not Italian?
Come on.
Chinese food.
Okay. Question number 3. If money was not an option, what technology would you buy next?
What technology would I buy? Oh, it would probably be something to do for the round table here. I would want to make a live 24/7 IBD channel on the internet where I could really make something like the round table look small in comparison to running a live 24/7. That would be like a dream thing for me.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 4. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Italy.
Of course.
I would love to go back and see the old heritage. I'd love to go back and see where, the ancestors came from, and the culture. And I mean, I have a strong feeling of, what the culture already is, but there is nothing like, going back and seeing firsthand what the ancestry was like.
Yeah, I hear that. And question number 5, very simple. What is your favorite television show?
That's a toss-up. There's more than one, but I love How I Met Your Mother. I love King of Queens. So that would be at least a couple.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
That means it's time to get back to business.
Okay.
Serious faces. All right, now we are moving into your teenage years. I know that you were a geek, as you told us, and you didn't, or you tried to hide being a geek.
I did.
What else, if anything? Of course, if nothing comes to mind, we can move right along. But what can you say about your teenage years? What were you like? Did you have hopes for your future, like this job in mind? Did you envision like a certain kind of family or where you were going to live? Where'd you go to high school? Did you smoke cigarettes? Bad. Don't do that.
My teenage years were very, very tough for me. Most people don't know this, but I'm extremely dyslexic. And so school, nobody was able to figure out that I was dyslexic until I was about 18 when I was out of high school.
Wow.
So my teenage years during school was extremely difficult. I wasn't a very good student. Most people couldn't understand why I wasn't a very good student. I didn't understand why I wasn't a very good student. I didn't understand why when I had, in English classes, when I had a book to read, why I couldn't even remember what I read on one page and I had 300 pages to read. I couldn't understand why none of the sentences were making sense to me, why they were, upside down and backwards and all over the place. And it was extremely, extremely frustrating for me. And so, my younger teenage years were pretty rough until I was seeing a neurologist to begin with for my chronic migraine. And it was when I was about 18 that, I don't know why we got on the subject of it, but I started explaining to him some of the problems that I was having, and he immediately was like, I think you're dyslexic. And he, gave me a test, and sure enough, bang, that was it.
Wow.
Yeah, so my teenage years were tough and they were hard, but they also made me into who I am today. So as tough as they were, I'm somewhat glad that I went through it, just because of it helped me to where I am today. But even as a teenager, I kind of knew that I would be doing something as a career with computers. I wasn't exactly sure what. When I was about 16 years old, I got so tired of being a computer programmer that I actually put it down and walked away. Like, I didn't even want to see a computer. I thought the idea of writing, I thought the idea of writing code all day long, just lines and lines of code all day long, was boring and monotonous. And it was about when I was 18 that the internet hit. And I knew that's when, networking was happening, and all of a sudden the light bulb went on. I was like, man, that is it. That's what it's about right there. And I quickly went to school for it. And it was, from then on, I knew this is what I had to do.
Yeah, and I couldn't think of a more perfect job for you. And also, that's something I didn't know about you, about going through that. I knew you were dyslexic, but I didn't know how much you struggled when you were younger. But I think it's really amazing for you to go from that to put yourself through school and to have the job that you have now is quite an accomplishment.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I had to do everything a lot harder because of it. Like most kids, they go to high school for 4 years, they get out, they go to college for 4 years, and then they start the career. And for me, because of this, it was a lot harder. It was, I had to, it felt like I had to do double the work to get where I am, but it was well worth it at the same time. I mean, I love what I do. I love going to work every single day. And not only do I love the type of work that I do, but I love the place that I work. I just think that I work at the greatest place on earth, and I'm just very fortunate to have both.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So important. But I actually work at the greatest place on earth. Actually, I don't work out right now. So let's go, before we get into you as an advocate and what you do and how you got started and your family and all that, just kind of tell us about you as an adult. Where do you live right now?
So I live in New Jersey right now. I live just outside of Atlantic City. I was born in Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania. After a while, my parents moved to Ventnor, New Jersey, which is just outside of Atlantic City. And they grew up there for a while, and then I started my own business when I was 18 years old. I started a wireless communication company, and I ran that for about 5 years. And then I just was not happy with the type of work that I was getting in this area. So my aunt and uncle moved to Las Vegas, and I went out to Vegas a couple of times to visit them. And I absolutely loved Vegas. I thought Vegas was just, and it's not because of the gambling or any of the things that you might be thinking. It was just, I loved the weather. I loved the homes. I loved all the things that the word do there. Just everything about the area was just absolutely great. And so my uncle and I were talking, and he was showing me some of the different work that they had out there for me. And I just thought, man, I'm young. I don't have anything tying me down. And if I'm going to do something like this, like move across the country, now's the time where I have to do it. And so I did. I just decided one day I'm going to sell my shares of my company to my partner. I'm going to pack up my stuff, and I put it on a 17-inch or a 17-foot Penske truck with a 4-wheel tow hitch for my car, and drove from Pennsylvania all the way to Las Vegas. And it was the greatest decision I ever made in my entire life. The work that I got out there, the things that I was able to do out there were just absolutely amazing. And it really set me up for what I do today back here in New Jersey. So Vegas was just like a dream come true for me.
I feel like a bad friend. I didn't know that you owned your own business for so long.
You're not a bad friend. I don't talk about it that much.
I
But
know.
yeah, it was great. It helped me. It really helped me a lot, man. It was the best part about the fact that I owned a business for 5 years is that I understand what it takes to run a business. So I don't look at things always just strictly from the employee side of things. I look at things from, I can see both sides of the table, and it helps me actually be a better employee that way.
Yeah, makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So now I want to know, not involving your family, not involving a girlfriend if you have one, we'll get to that later.
Okay.
Not involving those things, what is your favorite thing to do? Besides, we know technology, but just what do you like to do? Question.
So not involving family, not involving a girlfriend or anything like that. I think it's funny because my life right now that I am so utterly happy about involves all of that. You know, my life right now is working at my career. It's advocating for IBD. It is being a father to my two great kids, and it's sharing my life with probably the greatest woman I've ever met. And I couldn't be happier about all of those things. If it's just me that, you know, I don't have the kids and I'm not at work and I'm not with Marissa, then I think I love watching movies. I love watching, and I'm very versatile in the movies that I like to watch, but like a great action movie, even a great suspense or a drama, like just to name a few, like I love Lord of the Rings. I love you know, watching comedies. I love watching, you know, old, you know, sometimes even gangster movies, you know, all the Godfathers, the Casino and stuff like that. But yeah, I really enjoy watching movies. So I guess maybe that might be the answer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned that you have kids and you
Mm-hmm.
have a girlfriend. Without bringing IBD into it yet, tell us a little bit about your family. You have 2 kids?
I do. I have Domenic is my oldest. He's 9 years old now. And I have Anthony, who is 2 years or a year and a half younger. In fact, his birthday is June 15th coming up.
Aw,
Yeah,
Anthony.
yeah, he's going to be turning 8 years old, man.
Oh, damn. So old.
Yeah, they are 2 of the greatest gifts I've been given. They are just it's hard to put into words how much joy they bring me. Of course, being a parent, there's the other side where sometimes, things are difficult and, they're arguing with each other or something like that. But 99.9% of the time, man, they just bring me so much joy. It's unbelievable.
Aw, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And word on the street is that you may be in a relationship with my sister, my BFF. Is that a true case?
That is absolutely a true case, and I'm the luckiest man in this world because of it. And so much of it has to do with you, and you didn't even realize it at the time.
Not at all.
Most people who will be watching this probably know of Marissa Lauren Troy, who is just an absolutely amazing IBD advocate as well. It was funny because Sarah, you and I were doing a roundtable for about, I guess, 2.5 months, almost 3 months, and then all of a sudden you were coming to the East Coast last year in May to go to a rock climbing event for another foundation, and you were like, Frank, you got to come, you got to come, you got to come. Mm-hmm. And what a lot of people don't know about this, that only a few of us know, that I have a really bad, 2 discs in my neck are really bad. They really require surgery, but I haven't been able to do it yet. And the night before the event, obviously I was coming. I had my tickets paid for ahead of time to go. It was about a 3.5-hour drive to New Rochelle, New York, where the event was being held. I woke up at about 3 o'clock in that morning, and my neck was completely locked up, and I was in so much pain. And I had to go to urgent care to get some help with it. And by the time I got back home and I laid back down in bed and all that kind of stuff, I woke up that morning just thinking to myself, you're a fool for thinking that you're going to go to this event. And there was just something in me that kept saying, dude, you got to go. First of all, you told Sarah you were going to go. You really do want to meet her in person after working with her for so long and stuff like that. And it'll be fun to, meet other IBD people. I mean, at this point, I've been advocating for a good while, but I had never been to an IBD event yet. Right. And, I really did want to go and meet some of these other people. And so I forced myself to go. And I thank God every single morning that I did. It was great. I walked into that place, and the very first thing that I saw walking through that door was you and Marissa. And I remember walking in, and you said something to Marissa, and she just cracked up laughing. And the first thing that I noticed about her was her smile. I mean, it was an incredible smile. It was like the entire room lit up because she smiled. And I just was taken back by it. And, I wasn't able to climb that day because of my neck and stuff like that. So I brought my DSLR camera with me, and I just started snapping photos of you and all the other people that were climbing and of the event. And I took this one picture of Marissa that is still is my wallpaper on my desktop here. And it was just, again, she just smiled. And when I took that picture, and I looked at it, and I'm just like, oh my God, the more I talked to her that day, I remember leaving there. I left at about 9 o'clock that night. And the only thing that consumed my thoughts the whole drive home was, how am I going to be able to talk to her more? How am I going to be able to see her and just get to know her better? And I just got so fortunate and so lucky that I met her, and I've gotten to spend so much time with her.
Yeah, I love that you guys are together. I think it's great that she has you, and I think it's great that you have her. I agree 100% about her smile. She has the most amazing smile. She is one of the most amazing people that I have ever met, and that was my first weekend meeting her too. We had never met in person, and you know, we just became instant already. We were already good friends on the internet, but we just clicked, and we've been connected ever since. So it's been fun to watch you guys get together, and I wish you many more days of happiness to come.
Thank you.
And if it all goes well, I'll take complete credit for it. So, why are you laughing? This is so serious.
I can't wait to play this back later in just the audio. Like, I'm not going to play the video portion of it back, and I just can't wait to play this back.
Are you ready for your next challenge?
I am. Bring it on.
This is going to take our viewers' help. Viewers, I need you to be judges, okay? So what we're going to do right now is we are going to take part in the blindfolded drawing challenge. And we have 3 things that we are going to draw, 2 of which I have selected. Don't worry, I have not practiced. And the 3rd thing our viewers are going to select. So comment with what you want Frank and I to draw. We have 1 minute. I have a timer here for each of these things. So
now, I'm just letting everybody know ahead of time that stick figures are a challenge for me.
I can't draw either. That's the fun of this, and we're going to be blindfolded.
I can't believe we're doing this. This is so great.
You can't believe that I'm doing this? All right. Make sure you know where your papers are.
Yep, I got them right here.
Okay. Find your blindfold.
Now, of course, I wasn't very well prepared, so I had to get a shirt here to use. For anybody who watches, who you know, you can consume the IBD Roundtable after the fact in both video and just strictly audio. And for the audio viewers, can you describe your blindfold for us, please?
So my blindfold is a sparkly pair of tights that one would normally wear on their legs. However, it is on my head. Looks very good, very fancy. So,
I swear, if you're listening to just the audio of this, please, dear God, go back and find the video on YouTube and watch it because it's so worth it.
All right, so the first thing that we are going to be drawing, blindfolded, don't you dare cheat. For 1 minute.
Do I look like Little Red Riding Hood?
Yes, you do. For 1 minute's time is a dinosaur.
Is a dinosaur. Okay. So I have to put this on my. I have to put this on my head.
Completely cover your eyes like this.
Okay. Okay.
I can't see a thing now.
Okay.
I hope I look really good. Okay, I'm gonna pull this up right now. All right. I'm gonna set the timer. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Hang on.
Okay.
All right.
Does it matter what kind of dinosaur I draw?
It can be any kind of dinosaur you want.
Okay.
Ready, set,
ready?
Go.
Go.
Oh dear. Well, this is so hard. Oh my God. I didn't realize how hard this was going to be. Don't cheat.
I'm not cheating, I swear.
I don't know if the timer is going to go off.
I pray to God that I'm actually putting his eyes on his body.
I don't know what I just did. I can't, hang on, I can't feel the edge of the page.
You better not be cheating.
I'm not cheating at all. You'll see when this is done.
Okay.
Let me just make sure my timer is actually going. Don't worry, I'm not cheating. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because, you know what?
Yep, 5 seconds.
5 seconds, okay.
Okay, time's up.
All right.
All right, viewers.
I don't think I can get this thing off me now.
Frank and I are gonna hold up our drawings, and you guys can vote. So this is what happened on my paper.
That's actually pretty good.
Let's see yours.
Here's mine.
Oh wow, yours is way better than mine.
Oh no, his eye is in the tree.
At least it looks like a dinosaur.
At least all of his body parts are actually on him.
Wait, okay, so we need people to comment.
Yes.
I think you won. Anybody still watching the show?
I don't know. This is pretty damn pathetic. I mean, come on. There's
Right.
no way that this can actually be good.
No, that was better than mine. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to draw is a turkey and a flower.
A turkey and a flower.
Yep, on the same page.
Okay. Do you know that I have a, seeing that we're doing full disclosure here, I have an issue with wild turkeys.
Why?
There is a pack of wild turkeys that where I work at this school. It's like in this wooded area, and there's this pack of wild turkeys that are like living behind in the forest area. And when I used to work the night shift, this one particular wild turkey, whenever I would go to my car at night, would come out and attack me. And I mean, literally attack me. Like, this thing was not scared of me whatsoever.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, and he used to. I mean, he pecked pretty damn hard.
We have 2 votes for you, so you win.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
All right. Veganostomie and Christy S. The checks are in the mail.
Oh, all right. I'm pushing start as soon as you're blind.
Wait. Yeah. Wait.
Turkey and a flower.
Turkey and a flower. Okay. Can it be any kind of flower?
Any
Doesn't
kind
have
of
to be like a tulip or something, does it?
Nope. Anything.
Okay. All right. I'm ready. Yep.
Set. Go.
Okay.
Oh dear. The fuck does a turkey look like? I'm gonna guess like.
Couple.
Has some balls on its neck.
Oh my god, this is great. Right. I have no idea if I did this well or not.
I think my flower will be okay. The turkey, however, maybe I should just trace my hand.
Hey, why didn't you tell me that ahead of time?
Now I don't know where anything is, so I'm just gonna...
Neither do I. I'm completely lost over here.
Me too. I'm just gonna make some grass. Because scenery gets points, apparently, so... Oh, time's up!
Ah, damn it. All right.
Oh. Oh, wow. This is pretty.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to win this one.
You probably are. Here.
Go ahead, ladies first.
Wait, hang on. Let me make sure people can see this. Can everybody?
I think you've won this.
The leg is not even on the turkey. The leg is in front of the turkey.
At least your turkey. I only have one leg on my turkey.
Let's see yours. Well, I don't know. This is close.
This is the flower, by the way. Just for most of you people who are trying to figure out what the hell I drew, this is the flower. This is my turkey.
That I can see it now. I can see where you were going with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you can see where I was going because I have no idea where I went with it.
All right. Do we have any votes on the winner? No vote.
Give it a second to catch up.
Oh, does it take a while? We also need
Yeah.
you guys, the next thing that we are going to draw is a suggestion from one of our viewers. So somebody just throw something out. We will draw it. Otherwise, we'll just move right along in the next portion of this. No votes.
Barry, oh, by the way, Barry S. also said, what should we call it, that I won. And for my cousin John, who's watching this, I did not cheat, okay? I did not cheat.
That was a really good dinosaur and tree, I would say. All right. Nothing. Oh, my flower wins. There's a vote.
There you go. And there's no doubt that your flower should win.
Look at that. I got some votes here. All right, no suggestions on what we're going to draw next. So we can move along in the interview process.
Oh, yeah. So, John, that's my cousin, John Mancuso, by the way. Yeah. So he definitely thinks that you won this round.
Well, that's good.
Oh, so Veganostomy said his daughter, and this is the bad part about it, takes a second for all this to catch up. But so Veganostomy says, my daughter said a monkey with a hat.
A monkey with a hat.
Yes.
Okay. That's going to be...
Obviously, your daughter doesn't understand, Vegan, that not only am I horrible at turkeys, but the monkey isn't going to get any easier.
I'm trying to think of what monkeys even look like.
Right. I'm going to draw mine with a banana for Jamie.
Oh, good idea. All right. A monkey with a hat.
A monkey with a hat.
All right. I don't know. This is scary.
This is insane. I'm so glad you decided to do this.
All right, are you ready?
No, but go ahead.
Okay, ready, set, go.
Okay.
Oh dear. So I feel like...
Do monkeys have ears? See, now you made me lose my spot.
This is so hard.
Yes.
Okay. Freaking Abraham Lincoln.
All right, I think I know I didn't do it, but I drew something.
Yep, me too. Something,
Okay.
all right. And before the time is up, even. Oh, okay. 2 seconds left. Time's up.
Okay.
I'm just gonna stay like this for the rest of the show.
Yeah. We should have done the whole show this way.
Oh my god. This is the worst thing ever.
Oh my god.
So, I drew a monkey and a banana. But,
So I drew, well, there's no way that I can even begin to say I drew a monkey. I definitely drew something, but this is not a monkey. I'll go first this time. Ready? Ready?
That's actually better than mine. It kind of looks like an alien with boobs.
I didn't even give it nipples.
A prepubescent alien with a cat inside of its head about to kill somebody. But,
Oh my god, this is ridiculously funny.
so mine is abstract, okay?
It's abstract. Oh my god, it's Curious George.
Do you see it?
Yes.
Well, it has ears and the eyes and a hat and a banana apparently going into his face.
Where's his body?
We weren't told to draw a body, I thought that. Okay. That concludes this portion of the evening.
Oh, that was great. All right, so can I put my blindfold away now?
Yes, you can. No more blindfold.
Okay.
In the show.
That was great.
Thank you for participating in my challenge.
Seriously, I feel like I didn't do you justice now because I didn't do any of this for your interview.
It doesn't matter. Okay. So now we are going to get into the more serious aspects, kind of why we're here in a way. But let's start off with how you got involved in the IBD community. What was it? It's one of your sons has IBD, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that? What IBD he has and what it was like going through that?
So I guess I'll start back a little bit in order to give it context and understanding. Domenic was born with Crohn's disease. At 2 months old, he showed symptoms. He was bleeding rectally a lot. He was not gaining weight. He was not growing. When most kids would, at that age, he was only a few months old, where most children would be drinking 4 ounces of formula per feeding, he was barely taking 1 ounce, and that was a struggle to get him to take that 1 ounce. He was vomiting a lot. He was what I thought was just colicky, but he was obviously in pain. I spent a great deal in those I spent a great deal almost every day at doctors with him, but for the first 4 months of his life, I really spent almost every single day at a doctor's with him.
Wow.
It got to a point where, and I haven't told this story many times, but I don't think he was much more than 3.5, 4 months old. And like I said, I was at this pediatrician's office every single day, doing journals of how much he would take in formula, at what time, and at what, just how many stools he had, how many urines he had. I had this novel going on, and every single day I would go back to the pediatricians with him, blood work being done, all these other things. Got to a point where the pediatrician obviously didn't have a clue of what was going on. So he decided that he was going to blame me.
Oh, gosh.
He decided that the reason why Domenic was having problems was because I was endangering his life. I wasn't feeding him. I was trying my best to, I guess what he thought was hurt Domenic. Oh. And I remember, I said to him, I said, I'm doing everything that you asked me to do. I'm a brand new father. I'm a stay-at-home dad. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this in my life. And try to also put it in a little bit more context, I'm living in Kansas at the time. All my family's back here on the East Coast. There is nobody who is there with me, and I'm doing everything that I can possibly do. And I was telling the doctor this, I'm doing everything you asked me to do. I'm here every single day. I'm doing every single test. I'm writing absolutely everything down. What more can I be doing? And I remember he picked up Domenic's chart, and this was, Domenic was, like I said, 3, 4 months old, maybe max, and his chart was already like this. And he picks up the chart and he slams the whole thing down, and papers go flying everywhere, and he literally gets in my face and screams, "Someone is trying to kill your child. Are you doing this to him?"
Oh, wow.
And he's just screaming in my face. And I remember, and I was holding Domenic at the time, and I remember I got up and I was putting Domenic back in the car carrier, and he said to me, he goes, "I'm sending someone into your home," meaning that he was going to call some kind of government agency or something. And I remember I got Domenic and I drove back to the house, and I was crying. I was in tears. I mean, I was just bawling my eyes out. I called my mom, and I said, I was telling her what was going on, and they suggested that the pediatrician that was in the hospital was different than when Domenic was born than the pediatrician that I was taking Domenic to. And it was suggested that I, try to get into that doctor ASAP and get a second opinion and to see, what was going on. And I did that. And, that doctor helped me greatly. He's like, look, he goes, I don't know what's going on, but I don't think that you're trying to harm your child. He's like, I'm looking at all this stuff here. You're doing a lot. He's like, I said, can you please do me a favor and take over? And, he agreed to take Domenic on as a patient, and that he was going to do things from that moment on. And we still had no answers, though. We still had no idea what was going on. And fast forward a little while longer, when Domenic was about 1 year old, we moved back here to the East Coast. And we had to start the process all over again, trying to find, what was wrong, what was going on. He still was having major symptoms. He was having low-grade fevers. He was, having still plenty of blood in his stool. He was screaming in agony when he would pass the stool. He was lethargic at times and fatigued. So we finally got in with the GIs at Children's Hospital Philadelphia. And when Domenic was roughly about 3.5 years old, he was finally diagnosed after his second colonoscopy and endoscopy with Crohn's disease. And it was really that moment on that I didn't have an idea yet what we were facing. I remember thinking to myself, thank God it's not cancer. But I had no idea what Crohn's was, what IBD was. And was the original question, how did I become an IBD advocate, or?
Nope, just to tell us a little bit about your experience. We'll get to that.
Okay. So, the thing was that I still had no idea what IBD was. I was grateful that it wasn't cancer because I was afraid it was something like that. But I just didn't understand what we were facing. And it was really at that moment that I knew that I needed to start figuring out what IBD was, what Crohn's disease was. And, I just knew that I had to really educate myself on this.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that, what you just explained, and the fact that knowing you, the last thing that you would ever do was try to hurt your child. And being a new parent and being away from your family, I can't even imagine how hard that would have been, and how alone you must have felt at the time. And then the fact that doctors out there, when they don't know what's wrong, why, it's just so maddening that they blame somebody else, instead of saying I don't know, or instead of referring you to somebody else to accuse you of harming your child, is just crazy to me.
When just to take a minute, when I was getting ready to become a father, I thought about all the wonderful things that were going to happen. Most of my friends had kids well before me, so I got to watch what they all went through, and everything that they did. And you think about all the great things, like, oh man, I'm having a son. I'm gonna be able to do this with them. I'm gonna be able to watch them do that. We're gonna do all these things, and I knew it wasn't all just peaches and and roses. That there's obviously some hard things that come along with being a father for the first time and being a parent. But I had no idea what you could never in a million years really sit there and think that or conjure up that I was going to go through this. And I remember it was probably about a month after Domenic was finally diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I wanted so badly to take that paperwork from the colonoscopy, and I wanted to fly back to Kansas and literally smack this pediatrician in the face with these results.
Right.
And I don't think for a second that GIs or any doctor for that matter, not just GIs, but any doctor for that matter, is God. I don't believe they have all the answers. I don't believe that they know everything. They are extremely smart and extremely intelligent, and they work extremely hard. But they are humans as well. And the worst part about a doctor, in my opinion, is not being able to say, I just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why can't you just say, I don't know? I like to think that I've seen everything. I like to think that I know everything, that I'm an expert in this field, but I just don't know what's wrong. And had that doctor said that to me, I would have been good. I would have been like, all right, well then who do I go to next? Who do you think I can go to next to figure out what's wrong with my child? There's no reason why I should be looking at all this blood in the stool, and it just was maddening.
Yeah, to say the least, probably.
Yeah.
So after that, after he was diagnosed, I know that you had to do things like you had to do NG tubes and feed him that way for a long time, and you went through a lot of hard, difficult things to have to do and to make decisions for your child's health. What would you say throughout that process up until now? What has been the biggest struggle, or what was the hardest thing for you?
I think it's hard to say necessarily what was the hardest thing. At each stage of this disease and everything that we went through, each one of them posed a significant challenge. It wasn't that there was one thing easier than the other. I mean, right after they finally diagnosed Dom with Crohn's disease, the ulcerations throughout his GI tract was just enormous. I mean, huge ulcers. I mean, they showed me all the pictures that they took from the endoscopy and the colonoscopy. And God Almighty, I can still picture myself sitting in this room after the colonoscopy was over and looking at these things and saying, oh my God, I can't believe that these things are inside of my kid right now.
Yeah.
And it was maddening to think that these huge ulcerations were riddled throughout his GI tract. And it was the very first thing they wanted to do was to put him on an NG tube feeding nightly. They didn't want him to consume too much regular food because they wanted to give the GI tract enough time to see if through the NG feeds, and it was basically like Ensure and Pediasure that he was being fed with at night, that it would give maybe the bowels a chance to kind of rest a little bit and see if it would also help his pain and bleeding and everything else. We were in the hospital, and they said, all right, you need to come with me and take this class on how to insert this NG tube. And I laughed at the nurse. I said, excuse me? And she's like, yeah. She's like, he's got to have this done at home. You're going to have to do it. I said, I'm a geek. I'm a network engineer. I build computers. I build the backbone of networks, the communication, how data travels. I don't stick tubes in the people's bodies, and especially my son's. She's like, you can do this. And I just thought to myself, as I'm walking down the hallway towards his class, I'm like, how can I do this? And, it wasn't easy. It was hard, especially because of his young age and obviously not wanting to have anything to do with that. It took three of us, on a nightly basis to, get these NG tubes in. That was extremely challenging. The 106.5 degree fevers were extremely challenging. I don't know anything in the last 9 years when it came to his Crohn's disease that wasn't extremely, extremely challenging.
Right, because it's a very challenging disease as it is, and I can't imagine being a parent in that situation. You have a lot of strength to do all that you do.
Thank you.
Next question. We have a lot of parents that watch us whose children have IBD. And what would you say, like what piece of advice looking back would you give parents for maybe newly diagnosed kids? What do you wish you knew, or is there something that you would say to them?
I wish that, I guess the first thing that I wish, looking back, hindsight being 20/20, is I wish that there was more information that was given to me. I really had no idea where to go to look for information on IBD. I scoured the internet, being the geek that I am. I came across a lot of bad stuff, and that was the worst of it. Is and as well as I do, we see it every day. All the bad, horrible information that's out there, and when you're a parent and you're newly diagnosed, you're just like, you don't know that this is bad information. I wish that the doctors had literature there and would point me in the direction of good information, correct information. I wish I knew about people like you at first. I wish I knew about the other grassroots, organizations like the Great Bowel Movement and stuff like that. I think that the best thing that a parent can do is to educate themselves, and then educate their child. I cannot say that strongly enough. The only way to handle this disease is with knowledge. I say a lot on my postings and on the work that I do that knowledge is power, and it absolutely is. If you aren't educating yourself, and if you aren't learning everything about this disease, I mean everything about this disease, you need to consume yourself with reading information and gathering all the latest stuff on a daily basis. And that might sound like it's a lot. It might sound like, I can't believe I have to go and, do Google alerts on a daily basis of all the new things that have come out every single day on this. But if you're not educating yourself every single day, if you're not learning something new about IBD every single day, you're not doing your job. You need to educate yourself. I think that's the best advice that I can give a parent, is to continuously educate yourself, and then take that knowledge and arm your child with it, because your child needs it just as much as you do.
Yeah, very good advice, and good point about the internet. And I think that's one of the scary things too, is that not everything that you read or come across is true. So it's, when you're new to it, it's kind of knowing what is right and what is wrong is kind of a confusing thing in the beginning. But education is the answer. I totally agree with you there. So moving on from that, a lot of patients, children, feel that they are a burden on their parents, and they feel a lot of guilt in their family. And same in relationships, because you're dating somebody who has IBD, and it's hard to be a partner, the sick person, and you feel guilty, and if you can't work, there's just so much that goes into it. Since you are on the caregiver end of it, tell everybody, should we be feeling like a burden if you're a child? Should we be feeling like we won't find relationships, or that there isn't somebody out there to take care of us? I mean, do you love Marissa as everything that she is?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love my son for everything that he is. And there's no easy way to say to somebody who has IBD, who's feeling like they are a burden, to just say, you're not a burden. And magically all that feeling of guilt and burdenness just, leaves them right away. I mean, it's obviously not as simple as that. I believe everything in this world happens for a reason. I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe that, I believe that, I don't know what the reason is why Domenic has IBD, but I do believe that it was for a reason. And I believe that it is important for us to not overlook what that reason is, and not to let it just fall by the wayside. Not to, I don't know, just, we're given things for a reason, and even though they might be hard, even though they might be something that is too much to bear, and trust me, I don't want my son to have IBD, and it is too much for him to bear. But I believe that there is a real reason for it, and that we're going to work like hell until we fix it, and until we figure out what that reason is. And I guess what I'm trying to get at is that I don't really know how to put this into words. IBD is what makes Dom who he is, and to a certain extent. I believe that it has made him stronger than any other child at his age should be. I mean, I watch him go into these, I watch him go in to do infusions and all the other medical procedures, and he stares at them as they're doing it. He watches all of it, and he has a look of determination in his eyes that no child at that age should ever have to have. And I love him for that. I love that he is so strong. I love that he is, he doesn't want to turn his eyes away from it, that he wants to know everything that's going on, that he wants to face it head on. And I believe that is a character and a trait that you just don't get easily. And it definitely isn't something that a 9-year-old should have yet. I know it sounds like I'm getting away from the question, but I guess what I'm trying to make people think and feel is that you are not, people who have IBD are not, you're not a burden on people. You have something throughout all the bad stuff that's IBD. You also have something that's amazing inside of you. You are doing something more than what 90% of the rest of the world's population could ever do. And because of that, you should celebrate that and not look at yourself as a burden, but as somebody strong, somebody who is able to do something that so many other people cannot. And I feel sorry for anybody, any caregiver, any person in this world who would make someone else feel like a burden because they have IBD. I feel sorry for that person, and that person needs to be educated and needs to maybe just get a smack upside their head. Seriously, it pisses me off to even think that somebody in my role or just an everyday person would think that somebody with IBD is a burden. That just sickens me.
Yeah, good. I think that was the perfect answer, and I think it's very helpful what you just said for so many people to hear. I mean, it even helps me to hear it because so many people need to hear that sometimes.
You guys, and I don't say this lightly. People who have IBD are my heroes, and I mean that with every fiber of my being. My son is probably, I look up to my son more than I probably look up to anybody else. For all the hell that you guys go through, for the struggle that you guys go through on a daily basis. I don't know too many other people in this world who can do stuff like that. And to me, you guys are really my heroes. And I just can't say that enough.
Oh. Eric over there from Veganostomy says his respect for you is over level 9,000. He says, wow, just wow. And I agree.
I'll keep working vegan until I can get that over 10,000.
Major, I think everybody has major respect for you, for what you do, and I think that we're all getting to know you on a new level tonight, and it's just, you don't talk a lot about yourself. I know you don't like to talk a lot about yourself.
It's hard to do even this right now. I mean, you know, I don't like, you know, talking about myself. I don't like being about, you know, oh, I did this and oh, I did that, or, you know, I do all this so somehow I'm special or something, because I'm not. I'm a father who loves his son. It loves both his sons, you know, and personally, I just feel like this is the least I can do. What I'm doing right now, what I'm doing with this advocacy, what I'm doing with you, what I do on a daily basis is the very least that I can do. And it's nothing in comparison to what you guys do.
Well, what you do is amazing. You might not look at it like that, but so many people look at you, and you are so strong, and the work that you do is it's quite amazing. I'm just astounded by what you do, and I'm so happy that, you know, patients can represent ourselves, but it's so nice to see somebody, you know, the parent of somebody with IBD, and now the partner of somebody with IBD out there advocating is really cool. And you may not like to talk about yourself. I know we all don't, because it feels really weird.
It does.
But, you're really special, and everybody has a lot of respect for you.
Thank you.
That sound means that we are taking a quick intermission to bring you another round of 5 and under 5. Very simple. You must answer these 5 questions in under 5 seconds. Are you ready?
I am. Bring it.
Okay. Question number 1. What is your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Christmas. All right. Question number 2. Your favorite social media to use?
Google Plus.
Of course he was going to say that.
Yes.
Question number 3. Besides Marissa's arms, what is your favorite place?
My favorite place. I think it's my home with my 2 children and Marissa in it. I think that there's no better place to be than all 4 of us together, and hanging out and just being us. I think that you know, it's so long as all 4 of us are doing things, I'm happy.
Awesome. Question number 4. What is your least favorite chore to do?
The bathroom.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The bathroom, yeah.
And question number 5. This is a difficult one.
Mm-hmm.
If IBD could have been cured a long time ago, before Dominic was born, before Marissa was born, before I was born, you wouldn't know any of us, but we would have never had this disease. Would you choose that, or would you choose this?
I don't. I'm not an IBD advocate because that because of friends or because I want to do this. I do this because I of a calling inside of here, and it's not something that I ever thought I would be doing. So I think that as much as I can't imagine my life without people like you and Marissa in it and stuff like that, it's actually painful for me to think about the 5 million people suffering every single day. And I could not imagine being so selfish as to say I want 5 million people to suffer so that way I could somehow be happy, because I could never be happy knowing that. So yeah, I think that if it meant that my world would be a billion times different, so be it. But so long as 5 million people didn't have to suffer on a daily basis, yeah, I'm all right with that.
What if we could cure it like next week? Would you choose for us to be this way now if we knew a cure was coming next week, or still same answer?
Yeah, I still think the same answer. I don't think that knowing everything that you go through, knowing everything that Marissa went through, knowing everything that all of the people who I've met with IBD have gone through, I would not want them to have to go through that if there was any other way possible. It's unreal what people with IBD go through on a daily basis. On a daily basis, not just the physical parts. I mean, the physical parts are damn hard. I mean, they're absolutely horrible. But the emotional and the mental side of IBD too. No, I can't in a million years begin to think that. Regardless if I knew that a cure would come next week, would I still want you guys to all go through that, including my son? No way in hell.
Good answer.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes that portion of the show. So we are going to move into the final section here, and then we will get to taking everybody's questions. So we're going to talk a little bit now about what...
And by the way, I really challenge the audience to hit me with any question that you want. There's really nothing. There's only one thing that's off limits, and if I see it, I'll say that it's off limits. But everything else is completely and utterly open. So if you want to know something, now's your time. All
right. So we're going to move into what you do online a little bit about your advocacy work. So tell us why did you start doing what you're doing? What made you want to do this?
So I'll take you back to 2011. Domenic had been pretty much in a flare his entire life so far. But it was December 23rd, and we had already spent about 60 some odd days in the hospital, and we just got home the week before. And I was doing everything humanly possible to keep him out of the hospital for Christmas. He was already there over Halloween. He was already there over Thanksgiving. All I wanted him to do was not have to see Santa in the hospital. That's all I wanted. And it was December 23rd, and he was running a low-grade fever. And you do the normal thing. You give Tylenol. You keep hoping that it's going to go down. So it was about 8 o'clock at night. He had a 101 fever. I gave him Tylenol, and I tucked him into my bed. When he would be flaring like that, I wouldn't, and especially with fevers, I wouldn't like him to be in his own bed. I wanted to know that at any point in the night I could, just wake up and touch him and know whether or not he was, fevering or whatnot. I tucked him into my bed. I, gave him the Tylenol and everything, and kissed him goodnight. And I came into my office to do some work. And I was sitting here doing a whole bunch of work, and I guess it was almost about 10:30 at night when I started to get tired, and I thought, all right, I'm going to go to bed now. And I went into bed. I laid down in bed, and I just thought, you know what, check him one more time real fast before you go to sleep. And I touched him, and he was burning hot. So I got up real fast. I went, got the thermometers, in the ear thermometer, stuck it in the zero, and it was 106.5 degrees. And I thought to myself, there is no way in hell that this thing is accurate. So, of course, I take it and I do it again, this time in the other ear, 106.5. At this point, I'm like, I almost felt like I was, I don't know, like shocked. I was like, there's no way. So I called my parents real fast because, they've always been a great source for me for, when I'm not sure what to do as a parent, call them, ask them, what their advice is. So I called them up, and my dad's like, my mom and dad are on the phone with me at the same time, and my dad's like, take it in your ear, see if it comes, what it comes back as, because maybe the battery's going bad in the thing or something. Took it in my ear, it was normal. Put it in his ear, 106.5 again. So at this point, I knew that, this wasn't just a scratch your head type of moment anymore. This was real, and this was serious. Ran into the bathroom. I grabbed 3 washcloths, and then I ran and I got them soaking wet, cold water. Ran into his room, grabbed one of his brother's shirts that were smaller. I put one on his chest and one on his back, and then I put the shirt over top of him so that way it would stay there on his body. And I put one on the top of his head. I snatched him up with the blanket, and I ran to the car. Now, the hospital is a little over an hour away from us, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So I'm in the car, and I'm flying up the expressway to get to the hospital, and I'm calling the GI on call to let him know that we're coming in through the ER and to be ready for us. Long story short, he's there all throughout Christmas. And it was just, at this point, I was so depressed. I was sitting in the hospital, and literally I was just crying like a baby. It was probably about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just crying hysterically. And at this time, I'm still on, Google Plus is around, and I figured, you got to snap yourself out of this. You've got to be strong. So I jumped on a hangout, sort of like what we're doing here with Shafali and Robert and this guy Ron. And they were 3 lifesavers for me. They sat there, they listened, and they just, were like, you're going to be all right. And that's what I needed. I needed somebody just to listen. And man, when I tell you I dumped on them, I mean, I dumped on them. Yeah. I was just I was ready to jump off a bridge. I was just so disgusted and so just depressed in ways that I can't even begin to explain. And Shafali says to me that night, Hangouts on Air was still brand new. It was something only very few people had. It was in beta. But Shafali was one of them who had it. She says to me, I'm going to interview you. And she's like, the minute you get out of the hospital, I'm interviewing you. We are going to do this. And I just thought at the time, there's no way I can do this. I mean, that's not who I am. I don't, I don't put my life on display, and I don't put my son's life on display, and, whatever. So we get home from the hospital about a week later, and she knows that we're home, and she's like, in 15 minutes, I'm starting to hang out, and you're coming on. And, I'm like, all right, let me go change. And as I'm changing, I'm trying to think of every excuse in the world not to do this. And finally, I got the invite to go in, and I just thought, screw it, I'm going to go in. And it was a 17-minute hangout. And she's asking me everything about IBD. She's asking me everything about what we just went through. And by the time the hangout was over, my email box is getting full with people who are like, oh my God, I never knew what that was. Thank you so much for telling us about it. I'm so sorry. Is there something more I can do to help?
Aw.
I'm getting emails from people that are like, I've had this for 20 years now. This is what I go through. This is what I've been through. This is what helps me. Call on me if you need me. You know, just from every facet of every different type of person sent me all these messages, and I was blown away. And for a brief moment, I no longer felt like IBD owned Domenic and I. I felt like for a moment that I was empowered, that I had a way of fighting back against this disease, more than just, you know, the physical medical stuff that we were doing and what we had to do. And I took the next couple weeks to really think about this. Is becoming an advocate the best thing I can do for my son? Is becoming an advocate something that is going to benefit him? Is becoming an advocate something that I think I can handle and do? And it took a good 2 weeks for me to come to the final conclusion that I was going to give it a try. I really felt like I had something inside of me was saying, you need to do this, try this, see what good that, if you could do any good at all, see if you can do some good with this. And through encouragement, through both Shefali and Robert, the Crohn's Colitis Effect was born.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it started right here on Google+.
Yeah, the place that I still hardly ever use.
Well, we at least know you use it once a month when you come on a roundtable, so.
Yeah, I've been trying to use it.
Yep.
It's still foreign to me because I don't even know how to turn on a camera, so how would I know how to do that? So, I guess, my next question was where you got the idea for the roundtable, the IBD roundtable, and the inspiration behind that. Was it that hangout that you had with them, or what brought the roundtable?
No, it was the idea of the IBD roundtable actually came about 7 months later. So I've been advocating for a while on Google+. I was getting a decent following. I was getting some good engagement, and I was doing some stuff. And like I said earlier in the program, I try to educate myself every single day on IBD. There's not a day that goes by that I don't look for a new article, a new research, a new anything on IBD. And I keep myself plugged in as much as I can to learn as much as I can, because I believe that this isn't something where you learn about IBD and then you're done. You have all the knowledge that you can have. You have to constantly keep learning more about it. And so a lot of times I would go to YouTube and I would look for videos on IBD. And God, they sucked. I mean, and I hate to say it that way, but they sucked.
I was out there back then.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It was, your videos were one of the only videos that I could watch from start to end, enjoy it, actually laugh at some of the things that you were doing that were absolutely hilarious, and a day later, I still remembered what it was that you said. You know what I mean? And that is what struck me, is that here is a video. The point of a video should be that, can you interject a little bit of humor to make the audience laugh and to, you know, enjoy what it is that they're watching? Yeah. Does your content need to be educational, and does it need to, should the viewer take something home from it? Absolutely. And should the viewer remember it the next day? Damn right. And if those three things aren't happening, you don't have a good video, you know? And most of the videos I was watching, I could not watch from start to end.
Yeah.
They were so dry and dull and boring, and it's like, there's no way that this is advocating, you know? God bless them for doing it. I mean, trust me, I'm not trying to put other people down.
Yeah.
You know, they did something amazing that a lot of other people aren't doing. They at least attempted something. But I just knew that there had to be a way to make videos differently than yours, but along the same lines, where they were funny, they were entertaining, they were educational, and you would take something home from it. And I thought, how great would it be if we just got 3 to 4 advocates together on, you know, on just whether it be a weekly basis, a monthly basis, or whatever, why don't we just bring them together, and why don't we just all talk about what it is that we know, what we're going through, and what we can do to help educate the world on IBD. And it was very important to me that none of it be scripted, that none of it was that the questions were told ahead of time, where people had their remarks prepared and they were written down and it looked like they were reading off a cue card, that there was no stiffness, no stuffiness, no dryness, that it was about monkeys being drawn and turkeys, and it just that it was spontaneous, and it was just so educational. It was so important to me that it was educational, and that everybody could take something away from it. That it wasn't just patients who could take something away from it. It wasn't just caregivers. That the person who never even heard the words IBD before could watch one of the videos and say, wow, I just learned something about IBD, and that they would get it. And that's what I wanted. And I believe that I got that from the very first day with all of you guys. I really I hope everybody who's watching this doesn't think like, oh my God, he was like some kind of genius about the round table. He had this great vision, and that, he was a mastermind of putting it all together. Far from it. I believe that, like I said, everything happens for a reason, and that I had a good idea and I executed on it. But I'm still trying to, make the IBD Roundtable evolve every single month. I'm trying to make it better and better as time goes on. A lot of people can't see all the things that I'm doing with it behind the scenes, but there's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of work that has to be done in order to make it continue to grow and stuff like that. And I just continue to pray that I do a good job on it, and that it's because of you. It's you, Sarah Ringer. It's because of Sarah C. It's because of Christina that the Roundtable has been successful. It's not me. It's not just one thing. It's all of us together. It's really been an extraordinary thing that I just am so thankful that I get to do with you guys on a monthly basis.
Well, I love it. I love the idea. I am so thankful for the fact that you chose me to be on the Roundtable, because
you were the very first person I chose, and I'm not just saying that we're on here and that you're interviewing me. I knew from the very get-go that when I was thinking about the 3 or 4 people, you were the very first person that popped in my mind. I really was hoping and praying that you would be willing to do it, because we didn't really know each other.
No.
And I don't know about you, but you have to kind of wonder, when you don't know somebody, well, what am I getting into? And you kind of have to think twice. And if you want your reputation and your advocacy to be taken seriously, then you have to know that you're not walking into something that could be potentially bad for it. So, but I'm very thankful that you gave me a shot, that you said yes, because I really believe that you are a major reason why the Roundtable is the way it is too.
Well, thank you, and it's an honor to be on the show, and I love it since we started, and I think that we're evolving. Our audience is going to see changes in the future. We have new panelists now. We have Ryan and Marissa, who are both fantastic and amazing people, and we're going to get new technology, and it's just going to keep growing. So, and I love that we have an audience that joins us each time that we see these familiar names pop up and interacting with us, that's what makes the Roundtable, is the people watching it.
Guys, I can never say this enough about our audience, that I love you guys. I mean, I seriously love you guys. And when I post the event on Facebook and on Google+, and I get comments like, oh my God, I'm so glad, I can't wait for this to be on. Literally, I am shocked every single time that I see one of those comments. I mean, literally, nothing makes me happier than to know that it is just, that it's doing something for you guys. And that's what makes it all worth it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I have one last question for you, and then we will get to everybody else's questions here.
Great.
Last question is, what do you see for yourself for the future? Where would you like to take your advocating? Do you have a vision or plans for the next thing? What do you want to see come out of it?
I do. I might not talk about all of it right now, just because.
It's a
secret. No, you know, it's funny. When I started my advocacy, I never thought on Google Plus with the Crohn's Colitis effect. I never thought that I would have more than 300 followers on there. I just thought that I would probably even just be preaching to the choir, you know, and I didn't necessarily just want that, but I also, you know, wanted to see what it is that I could do and where this was going to take me. And I'm fortunate and I'm honored, and I can never say this enough. I am honored to be an IBD advocate, and I feel a huge sense of honor when I get to advocate for you guys, when I get to stand up and talk to other people to try to get them to understand what it is that people with IBD go through. And I take that extremely seriously, and I want to continue to be able to do that for you guys. I want to be able to do it in a way that's going to be very, very helpful to the IBD patients and the world that the IBD patients live in. And I think that I'd like to be able to do more speaking engagements. I'd like to be able to continue to get the word out about IBD. I think that, you know, my mission statement is to make IBD a household name. I want IBD to be as synonymous as Kleenex, as this tissue. I want that everybody to know what the term IBD is and to understand what it is, to have a very good sense of what it is that somebody with IBD lives with. And I don't think that I'm going to be done doing what I do until that happens. And I don't always know the path. Sometimes I get a great idea and I just try it, like the round table. And I see what path that leads me to. And hopefully I'll get to continue to wear this badge of honor, to be an advocate for the 5 million people worldwide that have it. And hopefully I'll be able to make life better for, you know, everyone who has it. And if that means that, you know, we make the round table even larger, if that means that we that, you know, I don't know. I don't always know what that means, but I know that I have some ideas and I'm going to try some of them and I'm going to see where it leads me. And but I just hope that I can continue to do good.
You will. I don't think we're going to see the end of your work anytime soon.
I hope not.
Oh, somebody's texting me. We'll just turn that off there. All right, so let's get to some questions. I don't know if because you're the controller person, if I'm able to answer them.
Do you have the select button next to the question or no?
No, I don't. So I think that
right,
you have to select them.
So I will have to do it. I'll have to select them. If you want to somehow tell me which one, and I'll go and select it.
Well, first of all, let's just read all this praise that everybody has for you. So much. So much.
We'll start with Ryan.
So the one from Steven, he asked a question first.
Okay. Hold on for a minute. Let me go. There we go.
Or if you just want to select the ones that you want to answer.
Can you see the one that I selected?
Nope.
Okay, I just selected Steven Dempster's.
Yep, now it's up there.
Okay.
All right. So Steven asks, in the future, how do you see IBD social networking developing and possibly integrating with frontline primary medical care?
So being the geek that I am and being the ultra technology guy, I believe we haven't scratched the surface on what we can do using technology to make life better with people who have IBD. truly believe that we are starting to evolve into the next generation of technology, which will be wearable computing, wearable stuff, glasses like Google Glass, watches, and I believe that so many of those devices that have yet to come out, that will come out, will have health-based stuff built into it. For those people who saw the Apple keynote on Monday, they're partnering right now with the Mayo Clinic for special health technologies that they're getting ready to develop and to put out to the public. I believe that there should be a way that we are able, as patients, to communicate with our doctors in real time with symptoms and problems that are going on. I think that should be easy. I don't think that should be hard. I think in this day and age, we should be able, through an app or through something else, to input information about what our symptoms are, how many times we're using the bathroom, what is going on inside of us, plus how we're feeling, and have that information real time at the doctor's office, so that way they can they're able to treat us almost immediately, rather than in a year from now, or in a month from now when our next appointment is. I believe that social networking is probably one of the best things that could have happened for people with IBD. One of the things that as well as I do, that people with IBD feel isolated and alone. They feel like, that the world doesn't understand them. And then they come online to some of these groups, and they're just blown away that so many other people understand what it is that they're going through, and that they're not alone, and that they have support out there. And I can't imagine what life would be like for, people today with IBD if there was no social networking. So where social networking probably has some downfalls, it also has a lot of upsides too. And I believe it gives every single one of us a voice. No longer do you have to be rich and famous in order to be heard. We are now able to get on the internet and pontificate as much as we want, and hopefully someone's willing to listen. So there's a lot of good that can come out of this, and I'm hoping within the next few years we're going to start seeing, more advances in technology that's going to help IBD patients a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I know that, and I'm sure Frank knows that. If I know what's being worked on and I'm part of something, I'm sure Frank is part of it too. So, all right. Let's see. Questions. Just a lot of love for Frank, which I absolutely agree with.
Thank you so much, guys.
A lot of
Seriously,
people found it really.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, let's see if we can find any questions. Somebody said they wanted us to draw each other. That would have been funny.
Oh, God, yes. There was one I saw in here that I won't be able to answer, but I think you will be able to. And as much as this show tonight is about me, I also want patients to be able to get information that they need. I'm scrolling down. I saw it in here, and I know it's not gone. So
we had a lot of good suggestions for drawings.
Where is it?
Yeah, we have a lot of things to go through.
Yeah, there's a lot in here, so I'm sorry, guys. Just give us 1 second.
Is it the PICC line question?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of down towards the bottom.
Okay. Who's it by?
The name is under them, right?
Yeah.
The Front Butt YouTuber.
Oh, hey.
Oh, hey.
I like that. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Bang! It'll be up there now.
All right.
So go ahead. You might be able to. You might be able to answer this.
I gotta wait for it to get up to the top.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. So the question is, hey guys, I have a question on PICC lines. Tomorrow is my surgery to fix my retracted stoma. In the past, IVs have never lasted very long, especially if antibiotics are used. Also, the IV sites always become painful after 6 hours of use. I have those. Is there more to that? Or does it just cut off?
I think the very next one, I have those little veins that roll and hard to find as well. Should I push for a PICC line? I will only be in the hospital for about a week for everything, if everything goes smoothly.
It's honestly, it's going to be very, very individual to your doctor's choices. Usually, if you're just going to be there a week, I know that my doctors would probably tell me no. Because PICC lines, as amazing as they are sometimes for those of us who have terrible veins, I know I have really bad veins. Poked 8 times one time for just a simple infusion. It comes with a lot of risks, and an infection in one of these you're looking at near death. I mean, an infection in one of these is not a good thing to have. I wound up in the ICU, almost dead. I was lucky that I made it through that by getting an infection in my PICC line. However, there's also something to be said about, you know, your needs and your wants and what makes the patient comfortable. And if that's something that you want and you know the risks, it's your choice to push for it. If you know going into it that infections can do whatnot and you're just going to be there a week, but you really think that a PICC line is going to, you know, make your stay easier, then I would say, yeah, go ahead and ask about it. Me, in my experience, my doctors fight me a lot just because it is a risky thing to have. And it's more for like a long-term thing. It's not really like a week stay type of thing. But in instances where you have just terrible veins, then sometimes they're used and they're useful. So I wish I could give you a definitive answer, but it really just depends on your preference and then what kind of doctor you have and what they are going to say about that. But if you really want it, I wouldn't, you know, tell you not to ask for it.
Sounds good. Can we take a geeky question?
Of course.
Okay, it has nothing to do with IBD either.
That's totally cool. We can take whatever you want. Tonight is about you. Where is it?
Did it make its way up yet?
Not yet. We're lagging today.
Yeah, we are.
Maybe we should sing a song while we wait.
Yeah. Forget the flute again.
Okay. Well, here is the question. What camera and microphone are you both using? Would you like to go first?
Sure. So I'm using the Logitech C920. I believe it is for webcams. It is the best of the best of the best that's out there right now. There's nobody who makes a better webcam than Logitech. You can go into, obviously, higher grade, non-consumer cameras to attach to your PC or Mac to do something like this. But if you're looking for a consumer grade camera, the C920 is absolutely excellent. I'm also using, and I'll show you real quick. This is the Yeti Blue microphone that I found that I really like. It's USB. It's not XLR, but it is really good for sound quality. I know other people who use them too, and they're pretty good. It's easy hookup, just USB, and Mac and PC usually already have drivers built in for them. What's nice about it is that it has a microphone. I mean an earphone piece that you can plug into it, so you can get your sound directly from that instead of, I'm using a Bluetooth set, but you can plug earphones directly into it. And it has gain controls on the back as well, so you can make sure that your audio quality going through it is well. What are you using?
Well, my microphone over here is also USB. It is, let me see if I can move it without making a lot of noise. It looks crazy like this. It's called the Blue Snowball. It's been giving me trouble lately, though. I don't know. It could just be my computer because my computer is ancient. But the microphone did used to work really well, so who knows what it is. My webcam, Frank and I can't figure this out because when we do these Google Hangouts, it looks really bad. I'm blurry and pixelated. Normally, I look really clear when I record my own videos. If I remember to clean the webcam first and it's not all blurry, which I found out today. Frank, tell me what my webcam is because I forget.
Are you using you're using the Logitech as well? Do you have a 920 or a 910?
It's the one that Wego sent to me.
All right, so I think it's the 920. So yeah, I mean they're under $100. They sometimes you can get them on Amazon for as cheap as $60. So they're a great cam. I definitely suggest people if you're going to do stuff like this or do videos, definitely use the Logitech C910 or 920.
Right. That's what I did.
You want to pick the next question or?
Let's see if we have any more questions here.
Like, can I pick something out that Christy said real quick?
Yeah.
So Christy wrote, when referring back to that pediatrician when Domenic was first born, he accused you of what's it, Munchin?
2000.
Yeah. Asshat doctor. His inability to find a call is turned at you versus him calling in help. So you could all learn. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it was a disgusting time, and again, I believe everything happens for a reason. I don't know what that reason was, why he was such a horrible, horrible doctor to me and to Domenic, but I learned something from it, and that is not to be afraid to say, I don't know. It's 3 little words that for some reason, people feel inferior when they say that, like they're not good enough, like they should have all the knowledge. We're human beings. No one here is perfect. And to be able to say the words, I don't know, is actually, in my opinion, you're a stronger person for being able to be honest and say, I just don't have an answer to this right now. And I'm either going to find out or I'm going to go to somebody else who does know. And I have more respect for the person who can say to me, I just don't know, than I do for the person who acts like they have all the answers and yet aren't able to give any.
Yeah, totally. So there's a question from Allison who wants to know, I don't know if you can see it, but I can read it if you want.
Go ahead, read it.
She wants to know what is one thing that is missing from the IBD community aside from a cure, and she said we can pick anything. What do we think is missing from the IBD community?
What's one thing that's missing? All right, so I'm going to talk about the grassroots for a second. The IBD community, obviously, the IBD world has, in every major country, in the United States, we have the CCFA. In Canada, they have the CCFC, which is basically the same thing as CCFA here. In the UK, they have the Crohn's and Colitis UK, basically the same as the CCFA here. But the one thing that we don't have is awareness campaigns. We don't have the ability, or not, we do have the ability. We haven't seen, in my opinion, great campaigns to make the public understand what IBD is. And, you know, I was so impressed with, Victoria Marie and the 4 other advocates in the UK who came out with the Get Your Belly Out campaign. I just thought that video was so incredibly powerful and so great. And we need more stuff like that. And what I wish is that the grassroots, I believe, are the ones who can come up with the best awareness campaigns. And I wish that somehow we could all come together, all the grassroots come together and be able to do awareness campaigns. But the biggest problem with awareness campaigns is you need some kind of financial backing in order to be able to really push that message out and get it seen by the everyday public. And that's what I'm really hoping that we can do at some point in time, is to be able to have a better way for the grassroots to be able to make IBD a household name. What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, I agree with you there for sure. That is definitely one thing we have missing, is a good awareness campaign. I was going to say, I mean, my answer pretty much is that answer. I was going to say we have a lot of things, but the main thing that we don't have is awareness outside of the IBD community. We have a great support network, a great family, a whole bunch of people doing amazing things, but is it really spreading outside the IBD community much? I don't think so yet, so I think that's one thing missing. Yeah, that's what I would say. A comment from Victoria, she says that she would like to see more blindfolded drawing, so...
Oh, God.
We'll take one more question, and then we'll say our goodbyes, because it's almost the last.
Wait a minute. Can we? I thought I saw something from Pearl.
I'm looking through.
So I would like to. I'd like to take Pearl's question, and maybe we can take one more after that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Yeah. So I just popped it up there if you want to read it.
Yep, I see it. All right, so Pearl asks, Pearl, by the way, love you so much.
Yes. God, love you, Pearl.
We love you. She asks, how do you think Dom's struggle with IBD and all your advocacy has affected his brother? That's a good question. Do you have advice for parents about how to help siblings cope?
It is extremely difficult. You know, in the last 2 years, in the last year and a half, actually, because Dom's been in remission and has been able to be a normal 9-year-old boy, it's been a lot easier for Anthony, because he gets to see his brother every single day, and he gets to do things with his brother every single day. For so many years, that wasn't the case. For so many years, it was Dom and I being in the hospital, and Anthony not seeing Dom for, you know, days and weeks at a time. And you could tell that it definitely affected him. I mean, Anthony was obviously much younger, and a lot of things just flew over his head because of his age and how young he was, but he knew things were bad. And, you know, I always explained to Anthony what was going on and what was happening. Again, because of his age, I think a lot of things just flew over his head. But, you know, Anthony you could just so tell that when Dom was in the hospital, that Anthony just missed his brother so badly. He would call the hospital, want to talk to Dom, just want to know when we were coming home, how Dom was doing, and things to that effect. There is no doubt that siblings suffer. I don't want to say just as much, but siblings suffer from this as well. And it's not easy to watch a family member, someone that you absolutely love and care about, go through so much and to be gone for so long. You know, I think that Anthony did a great job of just you know, knowing that Dom was in good hands. And I think that he trusted that, you know, if Dad said that, you know, Dom was going to be all right and we'd be home soon, then he just trusted that. But I know it wasn't easy for him. I know it was very difficult for him.
Yeah, I would have to agree, just knowing, you know, having siblings of my own, and it's definitely a family disease. It's not just one person. It's the entire family that is affected in a different way.
Yes, IBD strikes at everyone. doesn't just strike at the patient and the patient alone. It strikes at everybody.
Yes. All right. Let's see. I'm just looking to see if we have anything we didn't address. Looks like we got a lot of them.
Yeah.
Are you seeing any more that you'd like to take?
That's what I'm looking at right now. 1 second.
I always love.
I want you to answer this. This won't be the last one. What Christy S said. It's up there.
Not yet. Not for me. It's not up there. I'm waiting. Come on.
Give it a second. It's coming.
Okay. Oh yeah, I saw this. If Crohn's disease was a cat, what would it look like?
Go ahead. You're the cat lover.
That's a good question. It depends on what kind of Crohn's disease what's happening. I mean, is it Crohn's disease being treated by steroids? Because then it would look like my cat because he's very fat and puffy.
Yeah, it would. I mean, are we talking about a cat on Pred, or are we talking about a cat on something else?
Or is it the cat just Crohn's disease? Then it would be, well, scary. Scary cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I picture it like with claws and fangs, like climbing up the curtains.
Yeah, you know what? The claws would represent probably the way, the whole GI tract feels to people with, Crohn's, and how people with UC feel, in their large intestines, just scraping and ripping and tearing out your insides,
Mm-hmm. I love that.
I could see a big fat puffy cat like me, on Pred or something like that.
My cat's not around because he is huge. I don't know what's wrong with him.
So I think, one of the last things I like to say is I really can't thank this audience enough. I appreciate everything that everyone said in here. It is just absolutely, guys, I just love you all, and I appreciate you all, and I thank you for the time that you spend watching these. It means such a great deal to me, and I do this for a lot of reasons, but I mainly do it for you guys, and I do it because I'm hoping that somehow, some way, that we're helping. We're helping you, and it just means so much to me when I see that these roundtables do something for you guys, and I appreciate you, and I can't thank you enough.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Frank, for giving me the honor of interviewing you. I feel very lucky to have been able to do that, and I know that everybody here tonight learned a lot about you, and only their respect and their love for you has grown even more than it already was. But I can't thank you enough for letting me do this, and tell everybody again where we can find you, and then we'll say goodnight.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for doing this. When you offered to do this, I couldn't think of a better person to do this. And you know what? You did not disappoint. I absolutely love what you did here tonight.
There's nothing.
I really love what you did here tonight, and I thank you for it. Seriously, I really appreciate it. Again, you can find me at cceffect.org, cceffect.org. Visit my page on Facebook, The Crohn's Colitis Effect. Please like it. Please subscribe to me on YouTube as well. It's youtube.com/FGARUFIJR. And find me obviously here on Google+. I love to connect with you here as well, and on Twitter as well at Crohn's Effect.
He's everywhere.
I am.
He's all over the place. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much again for watching, and we will see you on our next roundtable when our whole panel is all back together, and we look forward to it. So you all have a good night, and we love you. Goodbye.
Good night, guys. Thank you.